FC Cincy and Austin of Major League Soccer are in a peculiar situation. Both franchises are cities that have historically been rugby-style football towns. The Cincinnati Bengals of the National Football League has always been the darling of Southern Ohio towns for many years. Within the last decade, however, there was a point where the franchise was vulnerable. From 2010 to 2015, the team was a legitimate contender. From 2016 to 2020, the franchise was at the bottom of the league and largely unrecognizable. Citizens stopped showing up to games, and the ones that did show up started to wear brown bags over their faces. The Cincy NFL team started to look like the Detroit franchise. This vulnerable time in the Bengals era opened the door for a new professional franchise to start business in a city that was desperate for someone or something to give them entertainment. FC Cincy entered Major League Soccer as an expansion franchise from the United Soccer League in 2019. The move didn't generate much excitement from the national nor local sports fan base, but soccer fans in the city who loved the team since its USL days were pleased. The team didn't have enough time to win the city over, as in the following year, the Bengals drafted quarterback Joe Burrow, a young stud who was the face of the 2019 college football champion Louisiana State University. The drafting of Burrow instantly killed any chance of FC Cincy winning the city from the Bengals, which soccer fans may deem unfair due to FC Cincy still being a young franchise. However, Burrow is not a typical Bengals quarterback. The reason why the Bengals instantly earned the city's love back with the draft of him is because he is the messiah of the franchise. He's a Southern Ohio football legend that led his high school to 3 straight playoff appearances. Within his first 2 seasons with the Bengals, he led the team to the Super Bowl. Burrow has lived up to expectations, which is why FC Cincy has no chance to compete against the Bengals as they enter the MLS. Austin FC is in a similar situation as Cincy. Historically, the city of Austin has been a college football town. The University of Texas Longhorn has been the face of the city since the early 20th century and still is to this day. But similar to the Bengals in the late 2010 decade, the Longhorns' performance on the football field has been poor. During this time span, they had 2 coaches compared to the late 90s and early 2000s only having 1. The Longhorns now have their hopes in head coach Steve Sarkisian, who was popular in the Southern college football industry due to working under legendary Alabama coach Nick Saban in recent years. But unlike Cincy, Austin still has a chance to win the city because the Longhorns haven't found their equivalent of a Joe Burrow at quarterback. Neither have the program returned to being a legitimate national title contender ever since the Vince Young days. Another advantage for Austin is the growth of the city, which attracts people from locations that have no relation to the historic culture, but a vast majority of the transplants are Texas natives, which means the city is still highly loyal to rugby-style football. Similar to Cincy, Austin's window to win the city is short, which many may deem unfair due to the franchise only being around for only 1 full season. In sports, fairness is an illusion. The sport that people love the most gets the most attention. The franchise that generates the most revenue for the city gets the most love and benefits. Rugby-style football has been the most popular sport in these 2 cities for many years. No matter how many games FC Cincy win, lose, or draw, the Bengals will be the darling of the city for many years to come. Austin, on the other hand, has the chance to be the face of the city as long as the Longhorns remain mediocre. If the college football team continues to decline, however, it could open the door for an NFL franchise to come to the city. The belief that every Texan loved the Cowboys is a myth. Austin, which is quickly becoming a major city in the South, could attract a Western NFL franchise, which history suggests will be looking for a new home within the next 30 to 50 years. So how can Major League Soccer survive in these 2 locations? Rugby-style football is generally becoming less popular due to research resulting from a growth of brain injury research and knowledge. Major League Soccer can capitalize on this by continuing to showcase highly talented players. Another way is if the season doesn't take place in conjunction with NFL season. The league has reached a point where it can compete with Major League Baseball, the National Hockey League, and the National Basketball Association within the same season. As for these two franchises specifically, win games and make the playoffs consistently. At the end all, sports fans love winners, and the only way that the MLS can remain relevant in these two cities is if these franchises win games consistently. Another suggestion is that despite the next expansion city most likely becoming Vegas, MLS should consider investing in a city that's not NFL nor college football friendly, similar to St. Louis. Cities such as Albuquerque, San Diego, and Birmingham will fit this mold.
Do you wanna be like? Do you picture me like? What will I be when I grow up?